Welcome back, benchwarmers. We are locked back in today with another episode of I Got 5 on.
Last week, we were a field goal away from cashing 2 in a row.
The Rams decided to coast at the end and let the Raiders kick a meaningless field goal to cover.
Sometimes that's how it goes. We're shaking it off and are back with a new Week 8 parlay. I'm Corey, secretly a vampire.
And I'm Brendan. I do the Parlay Smash. And this is RV from the Bench. Before we get started, if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss any one of the new episodes.
Also, if you could please do us the favor, if you like what you see or hear, please don't forget to smash that like button.
Smash it for us, come on. It's free. It's free for you, it's free for us. Helps out the channel a lot more than you probably think.
Hell yeah.
Well, Corey, I was watching all of our parlays last week. Most of them were actually the morning games, morning for us West Coasters. So we were looking pretty freaking good, dude. Saquon, got his revenge against the Giants. That was a no-brainer. And everybody else that we were freaking rolling with was just hitting like nothing until the Rams decided to play. They were doing pretty good, actually. When last I looked, it was like, I think 8 minutes left in the game. And they were up 8. I was like, okay, well, we need them to win by 7. So that's good. Yeah. And then the Raiders go ahead and what is a 20-15 game going to do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You're still losing, right?
Yeah, I don't know what was going on. But I think what part of the problem is too, I'm gonna say it's my fault. I jinxed it because the last time we did this and we won, I totally was so busy at work, forgot about the parlay, didn't check on the scores, and then you're like, "Hey, we won." And then when I got to work in the afternoon that day, I was like, "Oh, I wonder what we're doing." I was like, "Ooh, 3 out of 5, cool. Ooh, the 4th one looks good. All right, 5th one looks okay, but I shouldn't have checked.
So you blew it. It's your fault.
No checking. We're gonna do it, and I'm just gonna let it happen until you tell me what happened.
All right, because I barely even check too. Because on Sundays I wake up and I walk the dogs, and then I go to church, and then I got a bunch of other stuff going on, making breakfast. And by the time the 1:00 games are out, that's the first time I've been looking at anything. So, but I'll keep you updated. I'll keep you updated for sure.
All right, for sure.
All right, well, we got one back here again, but we decided to cook it up a little bit differently this time. Most of the time, we try to pick money line or spreads, but we want to do a little bit something different. There was a lot of, I won't say easy games, but there was a lot of like Titans playing the Lions, that one, but the odds are so high that like a minus 500 isn't really adding up to much. So we're gonna switch it up today, and we're doing 5 anytime touchdown parlays.
Yeah.
This one's kind of fun, man. All we're doing is just needing people to score, right? So it can't be that hard, right? I mean, they're touchdowns. Everybody gets them.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna find out, and I mean, it's just like fantasy. Like we put the lineup out there each week, and we see what happens. So
exactly. So, what we're gonna do quickly though is go over the 5. One of the things that we learned, I guess, from the one that we hit a couple weeks ago is have a reason for it. Yep. So on the screen here, you're gonna see a couple images of it's split. Obviously, it's on a phone, so it's hard to take screenshots. Apologies, but you're gonna see it, and we're gonna give some of the reasons why we believe this is kind of gonna happen. So, here we go. We're gonna start with the first one being Amon-Ra St. Brown. Corey, I want you to take this one just because they're playing your team.
Yeah. Well, first off, we looked at Titans Lions and we said, well, someone's gonna have to score because the Titans are terrible. So let's look at this game. And then my first thought was, well, I know the defense for the Titans is like actually not the worst thing in the world. Like they're actually pretty good, if not slightly above average in some categories. It's the offense that sucks, especially now with Mason Rudolph. I mean, it's just a mess. But anyway,
yeah.
So we figured their Lions are going to score, and it's in Detroit, which helps the Lions' case. But we were just thinking about it, and the Titans' defense, I think we looked, was 7th best in rushing defense, and the passing defense was a little less.
It's like 11th.
Yeah, I feel like Goff's going to have a day. The Lions are feeling good after beating the Vikings. They're back in the division lead. The Vikings lost Thursday, so they can really get a chokehold on them in the division.
Yeah,
I think they come out big, and we think that Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to get a touchdown.
He is leading the Lions in receiving touchdowns this year. He's not leading the Lions in touchdowns, but with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, I couldn't remember his first name. David Montgomery being at like minus 200 for running back. They have the most touchdowns this year, the two backs. But Amon-Ra leading the pack in receiving, so we're going to run with it on this one. Good one. Okay,
let's go.
Next one that we've got is Saquon. Now, we ran with Saquon last week, and, in a revenge game against the Giants, that's something that we wanted to. I'll take this one, Corey. You can add afterwards. But the Bengals aren't good at defense. We're hoping that this is a shootout, to be honest with you, because we got Burrow playing in fantasy, just hoping that he doesn't throw anything to Jamar Chase, because that's who our opponent has. But we're hoping for a shootout, and Saquon is the weapon I mean, that offense damn near runs through Saquon, no? In Philly?
Oh yeah, big time. They've been using them great, especially last week. I mean, he could have gotten any more, but then I'm sure you've seen the video where Sirianni goes to him and says, "Hey, you want to go out and get like a career high?" And he's like,
He only needs like 13 yards or something,
"Yeah."
right? Something like
He
that?
was like, "Nah, we're good. Game's over. Like, put the young guys in, get them some reps." So like, he could have overdone it and really gone out there and pushed it on the Giants, but he didn't. And I think, he's feeling comfortable in Philly. Obviously, what he's doing on offense is working. So we think it's going to happen again. And like you mentioned, Bengals defense isn't that good. That's part of the reason they have like they're 2-4 or 2-5. So they're not very
Exactly.
good. So
No.
there is a reason to that. Burrow's had a couple good games, which is why they probably have 2 wins at all.
Yeah.
So we're hoping for the Bengals defense to not be good again this week.
Yeah, I think they're 3-4 right now, but
that's okay.
But either way, yeah, they haven't looked great in general. So, all right, the next one that we're running with here is Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
This one could kind of maybe be obvious here. There's 2 reasons why. The first reason is Tua's back.
Yep.
Tua's back, man. I mean, that doesn't get much simpler than that. Tua and this offense can roll when they are rolling, and as long as he's in, they're rolling. And you mentioned too the injury, albeit not great, wasn't a leg or an arm or something that actually inhibits the playing physically. It was a concussion. So
yeah, exactly. So I'm being back in practice, I'm sure they've gotten the reps in and they're feeling good. And Tyreek Hill himself said, if you have me in fantasy this week, play me. So we're going on his word. If he doesn't have a touchdown, we're gonna DM him and make him pay back, man. Come on.
Exactly.
He said play
So
you. We're doing
you did say it. Right. So that was reason number 2. Number 1, Tua's back. Number 2, he said play him. So we're gonna play him. We're gonna trust Tyreek on this one.
Go.
All right. The last 2 here that we've got are Jordan Mason, rushing touchdown most likely, but obviously anytime touchdown could be receiving. They're playing the Cowboys, who have arguably the worst rushing defense. Okay, not the worst, but a bottom 10 rushing defense in the league. And they've given up a ton this year. So the Niners are a run-first team. It's obviously it has, there's no question about that. And what add to this, bro? I mean, it's kind of easy, no?
Yeah, I mean the Cowboys, like you said, the run defense is terrible. The Niners run a lot. Debo's supposed to be back this week, I believe, so that'll help. They'll probably do some roundabouts and things to get him involved, so that'll open it up for the play action and everything else, which means Jordan Mason should have a day. And the last time the Niners played them was not very good for the Cowboys at all. And I feel like the Niners are kind of in the spot right now where the division's kind of up for grabs in the West, which we didn't expect at this point. They've obviously been decimated with injuries, but they're starting to get a couple people back here and there. And Mason, if he can just do his thing, which is all we're hoping for, just get in the end zone. I don't need 100 yards. Just get in the end zone any way you can.
The Cowboys have given up the 10th most rushing touchdowns this season, behind only the Carolina Panthers, who are about to sell everybody on that team because they're so bad. They've given up 10. Panthers have given up 13, so they're not 3 behind, but they're not too much behind. So we're thinking that Mason will get in the end zone this week.
Oh God,
the last one that we've got here is J.K. Dobbins. Anytime touchdown. They're playing the Saints. Okay. The Saints have given up let me look at it here, 3rd most rushing yards this entire season. And they've given up the 4th or tied for 3rd most rushing touchdowns this season with 9. Just 1 back from those Dallas Cowboys we just mentioned. The Chargers only run, right?
Yeah, that's what they do, especially with Herbert not being 100% still from the get-go. They've been running the ball. Harbaugh, that's like this whole thing is they run the ball, and that's what the Chargers do. Dobbins hopefully can get going early. And again, I don't need to get 100 yards, just need you to get in the end zone somehow. And again, Saints defense, not very good, gives up a lot of points, gives up a lot of yards. I mean, they score a lot too sometimes, but if that's what
sometimes
we get into a little bit of a shootout, as long as Dobbins gets in, I don't care who wins the game.
Exactly. That's the one part about this is we're not worried about what the final score is. We're worried, did that guy score? That's all we need. That's all we need.
And I already know the Titans are going to lose, so I'm already over it. I'm moving on to week 9.
But we're still rooting for Amon-Ra.
Yeah, but we're going to lose. That's all
right. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. So those are the 5. It's actually a pretty big win this week. You're going to see on the board that, it's 15. As you know, Corey and I do 5 on it each, so most of the time the bet is 10. But we live in California where gambling's technically illegal. So we have a friend up in Oregon who's doing this for us. Shout out to Art, by the way. And he decided he wanted to jump in with us. That's why you see the 15 at the top. So this should secure, hopefully, 264. Make sure you're following us, man. We hit the first one. We were 3 points away, technically 2 points away from the second. We're feeling good about this one too. So, yeah, that's where we're at, man. I'm looking forward to it, bro. It's been a minute since we've done a touchdown parlay. I like these.
Yeah, and last week we just added the Barkley one into like the rest of the games and stuff. Now we're going full into it. So again, now we don't care who wins. We just need guys to get in the end zone. That's all we're worried about this weekend. And if fantasy works out too, that's cool. But we'll see.
Fantasy. Oh, wait, actually, hold up, dude. I'm actually getting an update. We have breaking news. We'll send it out to Corey and Brendan.
Thanks, Brendan. Thanks, Corey. And we're back here to get another update with Nando and the fantasy team and what we're doing into week 8. Nando,
Yes.
how are we looking, sir?
Well, the start of this week already on was it Thursday's game is looking pretty good outlook. For one player, Kyron Williams to score 20 points for us is pretty solid compared to his two players that scored a total of 24. So I'm feeling good, especially because
right.
it's a back and a wide receiver scoring 24 points. That's solid.
Yeah.
For sure. A 2-for-1 swap is definitely a good start for a Thursday night.
Yeah, agreed. Because Thursdays can kind of go either way, Corey. I know you know this is watching it for sometimes. It's either a 6-3 game, right, or it's like what we saw, 30-20 something. Is more high scoring. So glad this one was the latter of high scoring and mostly for our player. So yeah, definitely a good start. Now, definitely a good start.
All right. So as far as waiver wire and stuff, Nando, I know we made a trade offer. How did that all go down, and what's the latest?
Yes. So I had my trade denied, my original one that we wanted, but we still got a pretty relatively good trade. It's not as, I would say, fair back and forth because our running back was scoring a lot recently, but we traded Chuba Hubbard for Zay Flowers.
That's right.
And we got him. So, it just depends on if we want to play him now or not is the real debate.
Well, you mentioned, it's not necessarily a fair trade as far as total amount of points, but as we've talked about, and Brendan will harp on as we go to every episode, we need wide receiver help.
Exactly. That's, I think, the biggest part. I would have rather had Amari Cooper. I think he's a better receiver overall and a more reliable option for Josh Allen. I think the hard part, and we've talked about it just before this episode, is that Baltimore likes to spread the ball a lot more. They're run heavy as well. So while Zay is probably a better receiver than we've had on the team, we're curious to see, from week to week if he's reliable enough. But sitting running backs and scrounging for wide receivers is not necessarily something that we wanted to do week to week. So by getting rid of one, albeit a good one, it gives us an opportunity to at least consider other things as far as knowing that we're going to be 3 running backs deep and trying to figure out which 2 receivers we're going to start. So not necessarily the most even, but it's more fair than other trades, for sure. So I'm excited to have it done. Again, I would have preferred Amari Cooper, but Zay is consistently, I would say, a tier 2 receiver in this league. So on any given week, he could do work.
Absolutely. Let's hope he does some work this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. I think maybe not this weekend. Maybe we're going to be waiting for next weekend. But before we get to who we're playing, let's kind of wrap up the rest of what happened on that waiver wire, or pickups, I guess you can say. I know one player that we've talked about. We've had him pretty much the whole year in Jackson Smith-Njigba. We grabbed Jalen McMillan, who is the slot receiver for the Bucs after their 2 major injuries, namely Chris Godwin's, who McMillan plays basically the same position. So more receiver help there. Nando, the other 2 pickups that we got, besides having to drop somebody, we've had roster room. You want to break those down for us?
Yes, so we picked up Juwan Jennings. Someone tossed him out, and we're like, okay, he does have the potential for sure. He's out right now, so we can just toss him in the IR. And worst comes to worst, I'm personally thinking if he does pop off, and we maybe don't play him at that time, that we can use him also as trade potential for something else. Besides that, we also picked up Ray Davis because we had a free slot after putting also Deontay recently in IR because of his rib injury. Yeah. So because of that, we picked up Ray Davis, who is basically another James Cook. He's been filling in where he hasn't recently, and it's just another possibility of more people to play, because even though we always need the wide receiver help, another running back is also useful.
Agree. And then to add to that, Corey, I'll leave it to you, but handcuffing a good back like James Cook with his backup, especially we've already seen Cook hurt this year. It's just one of those like just in case things because in Cook's absence, Ray Davis has put up double-digit points each week.
Absolutely. It's basically a safety blanket for us. And I have to say, considering where we started the season and where Nando was with his fantasy football and like acumen and what he was doing, the way he just broke down about even if we don't use Jennings, but we could trade him later for something else, like, dude, thinking like a real GM. I like it.
No, that was really good. The fact that he knew too, like Ray Davis, we're not necessarily going to play him. We've got James Cook, but you never know. I was just like, yeah, I don't even have to really add anything. So that was well done, well said. Again, it's kind of fun to watch the growth, because it's something that we enjoy. So it's cool to see you. You're doing well, bro. You're doing well. So props.
Yes, I pay attention here more than I do at school. So
Well, not necessarily good, but that's okay. School's
No,
for fools.
you know what though? This is real life experiences he's learning from instead. This is much better than school. Come on.
Very true. Very true. All right, so let's move now to what we've got going this week. This is our final, at least our final version of the lineup for this week. I'm pretty sure he's not touching his either. It looks like he's kind of put it together. Right now, we're currently predicted to win by like 4 points, but again, we're predicted to lose by 4 points, and we're positive side of our record. So projections don't mean anything, but it's a good feeling. Again, great start on Thursday night. Anybody that you are excited for besides Brock Bowers, Nando?
Chris Boswell.
Okay, I know
Always
you love
Chris
him.
Boswell.
What did you just look up? He has the most points this year, right, or something like
By
that?
4 points, he has the most points. I think it was the Commanders who have the second most with their kicker, and I think that difference was only because he didn't have any points the first game. But
Oh, okay.
either way, he averages, I think it was 12 points a game overall so far over his
Not
7
bad.
games. So him being on top is I'm glad for that.
All right, I'll take that.
I'm just hoping Devontae.
Okay, I was waiting for I was waiting for Devontae.
Hoping
Adams.
Devontae and Aaron Rodgers just wanna do something
Show up
against New
this week. That'd
England.
be cool.
Yeah,
It-
I think a
it's-
New England matchup would be helpful, but you're right. I'm hoping that one. All right. So before we move on, then Corey, anybody you're nervous about here?
No, not really. I feel like at the start of Thursday night is a 2-for-1, basically. I mean, 4 points difference, but they played 2 and we only played 1 guy. That gives us a little bit of advantage, I think, going into the rest of the weekend. I'm feeling pretty good.
Mhm.
Ertz and the Eagles have been not great, and the Chicago defense, which is who we're playing, is pretty good. So hopefully that kind of slows Hurts down and kind of cancels him out.
Oh no, Cincinnati. They're playing. Chicago's playing Washington.
Oh, CIN. That looks like CHI. That's so tiny.
Yeah, same.
Well, anyways, regardless, Hurts has just kind of been not great this year. The Eagles have
Agree.
been winning, but it's been kind of like last year where they won enough games to get in the playoffs, but it's been a struggle to watch, and it seems like it's not a lot of fun on the sidelines.
True.
So we're kind of hoping that Hurts doesn't have the greatest weekend. Other than that, I don't really have any worry, but I do have to say I think it's funny that Nando was so excited about the kicker. Like no one's ever that excited about a kicker.
Dude, double-digit points from your
I know,
kicker.
no, I know.
What are you,
He's been
17
doing better
last
than some of
week?
my players.
No.
Like I'm
Before
happy
you
for
got
that.
Before you got on earlier, Nando and I were talking, and he was like bragging about it and telling me all these numbers, and I was like, I mean, that's cool, but like, it's the kicker. He's like, yeah, but he's the best kicker. I'm like, yeah, that's great, Nando. That's awesome.
We got the
Hurt
best
me,
one.
yeah.
It is what it is. Get over it. So, all right, cool. Well, that's the lineup for this week. Make sure you tune in. We're going to give you the update, rundown of exactly what happened, most likely Monday or Tuesday again of this week. So make sure you check that out because we're hoping to move to 5-3. That would, and the 2 people that are above us right now in 3rd and 4th place, we're sitting in 5th place, are also, they have the same record as us, just more points. They're playing each other. So as long as we win, we should be back in 4th place at the end of this week. So fingers crossed for that.
Hell yeah.
Any last comments, gentlemen?
Besides, I'm hoping that if it is, Philly's game against Cincinnati, I hope, if anything, it's like a stalemate kind of thing where it's like 6-3. Because if it is, then Jamar Chase doesn't do as good, Joe Burrow doesn't do as good, and so does Jalen Hurts not do as good, which will give me more points to eventually get, which will be very useful in winning this game.
Yes.
Let's hope that's the case this weekend.
But if he does good, beat Joe Burrow, not Jalen Hurts.
All right. Well, now that we're all caught up with Nando's fantasy updates and ready to go for the weekend, let's toss it back to Brendan and Corey.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Brandon, for the update. Well, fantasy's looking pretty good, too. Got a good start on Thursday.
Yeah, absolutely. Great start.
Take a 20 from
Feeling
Kyron.
good. Let's see what we do. We got a few things obviously that kind of went our way, and hopefully wide receiver help will actually happen this week. We've been really trying all year for that. Oh, what a mess.
Yeah, that's literally, if you've been watching, that's the one thing that we're screwed on. So
yeah, for real.
But that's pretty much it right there. So let us know down in the comments below. Are you going with us this weekend? Or are you riding a different parlay? Do they have a better one cooked up, Corey, you think, or what?
God, I hope not. But if you do, let us know at RViewFTB on Twitter and on Instagram. Go ahead and comment. Or if you're on YouTube, feel free to comment down below and let us know what you got this weekend. Do you got the better one? If so, let us know. Let's get this gambling thing up. I want to keep winning, man. Losing sucks.
But if not, maybe tail us. Give us a chance. We're like almost 2-0, kind of like 1-0-1. That one is like a tie. I know it's a loss, but like we were one away, so it's close enough. Anyways, thank you all for stopping by as always and seeing things from RV from the bench. I'm Brandon.
I'm Corey. Like we always say, enjoy the sports until we talk again.
Peace.
This was a Sycamore Fourth Studios production.